The colony ships moved through space like a string of bright pearls against the darkness. 17 vessels carried 30,000 human souls toward their new home. Captain Hyun-sik stood on the bridge of the lead ship, New Dawn, and watched the blue planet grow larger on his screens. Kepler 442b was beautiful. It was Earth-like, approved by the Galactic Council and legally theirs. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," his communications officer said. "Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. They're Vrethian." Hyun-sik felt his stomach tighten. The Vrethians were one of the most powerful species in the Galactic Council. Earth had only joined the galactic community 2 years ago. They were still learning the rules. "Open a channel," Hyun-sik ordered. "This is Captain Hyun-sik of the Earth vessel New Dawn. We have authorization from the Galactic Council to settle this system. How can we help you?" The response came quickly. The Vrethian commander's face filled the screen. His skin was gray and scaled, his eyes cold and yellow. "This system belongs to the Vrethian Empire. You will turn back immediately." "Sir, we have proper documentation," Hyun-sik said, keeping his voice steady. "The Council approved our claim 6 months ago. Perhaps there's been a mistake in your records." "There is no mistake, human. Leave now or face consequences." Back on Earth, Ambassador Ji-won stood before the Galactic Council. The chamber was enormous, filled with representatives from hundreds of alien species. She had rushed here as soon as the colony fleet reported the Vrethian interference. "Honored council members," Ji-won said, her voice echoing in the vast space. "Earth followed every protocol. We paid the survey fees. We waited for approval. Our people are peaceful colonists, families with children. The Vrethians have no legal claim to Kepler 442b. A council member from the Thalosian delegation spoke, his voice tired and dismissive. "Ambassador, the Vrethian Empire has been a council member for 3,000 years. Perhaps Earth misunderstood the settlement guidelines. These matters take time to resolve." "We don't have time," Ji-won said, feeling desperation creep into her voice. "Our ships are there now. The Vrethians are threatening them." "We will investigate," another council member said. "In the meantime, perhaps your ships should withdraw to avoid any unfortunate incidents." Ji-won wanted to scream. She could see it in their faces. They were afraid of the Vrethians. Earth was new, weak, unimportant. The Council would do nothing. In space near Kepler 442b, Hyun-sik made his decision. "Send a message to all ships. Begin emergency withdrawal. Plot courses back to Earth." "Captain, we have families who sold everything to come here," his first officer said quietly. "I know," Hyun-sik replied, "but I won't risk their lives. We'll go back and let the diplomats figure this out." The colony ships began to turn. Their engines powered up for the long journey home. Parents comforted crying children. Old people who had dreamed of a new world sat in silence. This was supposed to be humanity's first step into the galaxy as equals. Then the Vrethian ships opened fire. There was no warning, no final demand, no chance to surrender. The weapons tore through the New Dawn's hull like paper. Hyun-sik barely had time to open the emergency channel before the second blast hit the bridge. "This is Captain Hyun-sik," he gasped, blood running down his face. "We are under attack. The Vrethians are firing on civilian vessels. We have children on board. We are not armed. Please, we are—" The transmission ended. The New Dawn exploded into fragments. One by one, the other 16 ships died. Families, farmers, teachers, engineers, children, 30,000 human beings turned to ash and debris in the cold vacuum of space. On Earth, Admiral Taemin received the recordings. He watched them once, then he watched them again and again. Each time he saw the ships explode. Each time he heard Hyun-sik's final words cut short. Each time he counted 30,000 dead. Ambassador Ji-won returned to the council the next day. Her eyes were red but dry. She had no tears left. The Vrethian Empire has murdered 30,000 Earth citizens, she said. Unarmed civilians, families, children. We demand justice. We demand the Vrethians face consequences for this act of war. The council chamber filled with murmuring. Finally, the head counselor spoke. The Vrethian delegation claims the human ships ignored warnings and posed a security threat. The Council offers Earth our deepest sympathies for this tragic misunderstanding. We hope both parties can move forward peacefully. Misunderstanding? Jiwon's voice was quiet, dangerous. They slaughtered our people. There must be justice. Ambassador, the Council has spoken, the head counselor said. We encourage Earth to accept our condolences and move past this unfortunate incident. Pressing the matter further would be unwise for such a new member. Jiwon understood. The Council would do nothing. The Vrethians were too powerful, too important. Earth was too weak, too new. 30,000 human lives meant nothing to them. She left the Council chambers. Within a day, every Earth ambassador recalled from every Council world. Every Earth ship returned to the solar system. The orbital stations around Earth went dark, blocking all incoming communications. Admiral Taemin called a meeting of Earth's military leaders. The galaxy has shown us who they are, he said. They have taught us an important lesson. Now we will teach them one. On the dark side of Earth's moon, construction began. Humanity had always been good at two things, remembering and building weapons. They would do both now. The galaxy thought the matter was closed. Earth had learned its place. The strong do what they will, and the weak suffer what they must. This was the way of the Galactic Council. But the galaxy did not understand humans. Humans do not forget their dead, and humans do not forgive. 3 years passed in silence. The Galactic Council sent messages to Earth. All went unanswered. Some council members worried at first, but worry faded to indifference. Earth had learned its lesson. The humans knew their place now. The Vrethian Empire expanded into 3 more systems. No one objected. The council continued its endless meetings, its political games, its comfortable corruption. Life went on as it always had. But on Earth and throughout the solar system, something had changed. Every human alive remembered the 30,000. Their names were carved into a black wall in Geneva that stretched for 3 kilometers. School children learned their stories. Parents told their children why the stars went quiet. General Kijun stood in a command center buried 2 kilometers under the lunar surface. Around him, holographic displays showed the progress of Operation Reckoning. Every number, every ship, every weapon was tracked with obsessive precision. General, the last stealth frigate just completed trials, an officer reported. All 200 ships are operational. Kijun nodded. He was a tall man who rarely smiled. Before the massacre, he had been a simple colonel, a planner, someone who never expected to see real war. Now he commanded the entire Earth military. Every decision led back to him. He felt the weight of 30,000 ghosts on his shoulders. "What's the status on the Phantom Project?" he asked. Director Sun Hee appeared on his screen. She looked tired. She had been tired for 3 years. "The quantum displacement weapons are ready, General. We've tested them on asteroids in the Kuiper Belt. They work exactly as designed. One shot can crack a planet's crust. No radiation, no fallout. Just destruction. And the stealth systems? Better than anything the Council has," Sun Hee said with grim pride. "Our ships can sit 1,000 meters from a Vrethian battleship and remain completely invisible. We've been testing them in Vrethian space for 6 months. They haven't detected us once." In another part of the lunar facility, Dr. Yoonji reviewed data from the latest weapon tests. She was young for such responsibility, barely 30, but she had a gift for understanding alien technology. The Vrethians had left wreckage behind when they destroyed the colony fleet. Earth had collected every piece. "Their weapons are powerful but inefficient," she explained to her team. "They waste 60% of their energy output. We've corrected that in our designs. Our versions are 3 times more effective and half the size. A technician asked the question no one wanted to answer. Doctor, these weapons, they're designed to kill. A lot. Are we really going to use them? Yunji stopped working. She pulled up an image on her screen. It showed a little girl named Hana, age 7, who had been on the colony ship Bright Future. Hana had loved drawing pictures of aliens and dreamed of making friends on the new world. Yes, Yunji said quietly. We're going to use them. Above Earth, the stealth fleet waited in the dark. Each ship was painted black, covered in materials that absorbed every sensor beam. They generated no heat signature, no electromagnetic radiation, nothing that could give them away. They were ghosts in metal shells. Fleet Commander Dongmin inspected his flagship, the Retribution. The name had been chosen carefully. Every ship in the fleet had a similar name: Vengeance, Reckoning, Justice, Fury. They were not exploration vessels. They were not science ships. They were weapons, built for one purpose. "Sir, the crews are ready," his second officer reported. "Morale is high. Everyone wants to go." "I know," Dongmin said. "That's what worries me. This isn't about revenge. It's about sending a message. We need to be cold, precise, professional. The moment we lose control, we become what they think we are." In the intelligence division, Officer Nari stared at screens filled with data. For 3 years, Earth's spy network had infiltrated the Galactic Council's communications. They knew everything: every Vrethian ship location, every military base, every defensive system, every weakness. "We've confirmed the locations of 47 primary Vrethian military installations," she reported to General Kijun. "Their fleet is spread across 19 systems. Their homeworld has orbital defenses, but they're outdated. They haven't upgraded in 200 years. They've been too comfortable," Kijun observed. "Too powerful for too long. No one challenges them, so they got lazy." "Will we really do this, sir?" Nari asked. "Strike all 47 sites simultaneously?" "That's the plan," Kijun said. "We hit them everywhere at once. No warnings, no mercy. They gave our people no chance. We'll give them the same courtesy." On Earth's surface, life looked almost normal. Cities functioned, people worked, children played. But underneath, everything had changed. Factories that once made civilian goods now produced weapons. Scientists who studied medicine now designed better armor. Teachers who had educated children now trained soldiers. Every human understood what was coming. There were no protests, no peace movements, no calls for restraint. The 30,000 dead had united humanity in a way nothing else ever had. Ambassador Ji-Wan had not been idle. She studied the Galactic Council's laws, its history, its politics. She learned every loophole, every precedent, every weakness in their system. When Earth returned to the Council, she would be ready. She met with General Kijun one final time before the operation began. "Are you certain about this?" she asked him. "Once we start, there's no going back. The galaxy will never see us the same way." "They already don't see us," Kijun replied. "We're the species that got slapped down and accepted it. We're the example they show other newcomers. Behave, or you'll end up like the humans. It's time to change that story." "How many will die?" Ji-Wan asked. "Only military targets," Kijun said firmly. "We're not like them. Every strike is planned to minimize civilian casualties, but yes, many will die. That's the price of the message we're sending." "And what message is that?" Kijun pulled up a star map. Red markers indicated every Vrethian military position. That humans protect their own. That actions have consequences. That the Council's cowardice ends now. He pressed a button. Across the solar system, 200 stealth ships powered up their engines. Crews took their positions, weapons systems armed. Every captain opened sealed orders and read the same words. For the 30,000, for humanity, for justice. All ships report ready, General, an officer announced. General Ki Jun took a deep breath. 30,000 faces flashed through his mind. Hyun Sik and his crew, the families, the children, the dreams that died in fire and vacuum. Operation Reckoning is go, he said. All ships jump on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark! Space rippled as 200 ships vanished into faster-than-light travel. The galaxy was about to learn what happens when humanity says, enough. The age of Earth's silence was over. The Vrethian orbital command station above their homeworld was called the Eternal Watch. It had guarded the planet for 800 years. Nothing had ever threatened it. The crew was bored, comfortable, going through the motions of their duties with little attention. Commander Verath checked his displays out of habit rather than concern. The screens showed empty space. The sensors detected nothing unusual. Everything was normal. Then the Eternal Watch exploded. 40 human ships had positioned themselves around the station, invisible, silent, waiting. At the precise moment calculated by Earth's computers, they fired simultaneously. The station broke apart before anyone inside could even understand they were under attack. 7,000 Vrethian military personnel died in the first 3 seconds. The orbital defense platforms were next. The Vrithians had 63 weapons platforms surrounding their homeworld, each capable of destroying entire fleets. They were the pride of the Empire, symbols of invincible power. They had never fired a shot in actual combat. They never got the chance. The human ships moved through them like wolves through sheep. Each platform exploded, one after another, a perfect chain of destruction. The entire planetary defense grid was eliminated in 14 minutes. On the planet's surface, alarms finally began to sound. Vrethian military leaders stumbled from their beds, confused and panicking. What was happening? Who was attacking? How had anyone gotten past their defenses? Fleet Commander Dong Min watched from the bridge of the Retribution. His tactical officer, Mi Young, coordinated the assault with cold precision. Every shot calculated, every target verified as military, every move planned months in advance. All orbital targets neutralized, Mi Young reported. No human casualties. Vrathian losses estimated at 23,000 military personnel. What about civilian areas? Dong Min asked. Our weapons performed exactly as designed, sir. The explosions were contained to military zones. Civilian sectors show no damage. Dong Min nodded. They were here for justice, not genocide. Every target mattered. Every shot had to be perfect. The galaxy was watching, even if they didn't know it yet. Transmit the message, he ordered. On the Vrethian homeworld, every communication channel suddenly broadcast the same thing, footage of the colony ships burning, the screams of 30,000 humans dying, Captain Hyun-sik's final words, then a new voice, cold and human. This is Fleet Commander Dongmin of Earth. 3 years ago, you murdered our people without mercy. You faced no consequences. Today, you learn that actions have a price. This is not revenge. This is justice. Similar scenes played out across 47 Vrethian military installations. Human ships appeared from nowhere, struck with devastating precision, and vanished back into the dark. Vrethian battle groups that had patrolled space unchallenged for centuries were annihilated before they could return fire. In the Tarvon system, 3 Vrethian dreadnoughts and their escort fleet were running exercises. Rear Admiral Korthax was reviewing his forces with satisfaction when the first ship exploded. Then the second, then the entire escort fleet. "Report!" Korthax screamed. "What's firing on us?" "Nothing, sir. Sensors show no hostile contacts." The last thing Korthax saw was a sleek black ship materializing directly in front of his view screen. It fired once. The dreadnought broke in half. Across 19 star systems, the Vrethian military died. Not their civilians, not their cities, just their weapons, their ships, their soldiers. Earth's stealth fleet moved like shadows, impossible to detect, impossible to fight, unstoppable. The Vrethian Emperor, Thorax IX, watched his empire burn from his palace. His hands shook as reports flooded in. 47 installations destroyed, 63 orbital platforms gone. 142 capital ships eliminated, 90,000 military personnel dead. And still, the Vrethian sensors showed nothing. The enemy was invisible. They struck from nowhere and disappeared. How could anyone fight an enemy they couldn't see? "Send a message to the Galactic Council," Thorax ordered, his voice breaking. "We need help. We're under attack by the humans." The emergency council session convened within hours. Representatives appeared on holographic displays, confused and alarmed. The Vrethians had been attacked? The Vrethians, who no one dared challenge. "The human species has launched an unprovoked assault on the Vrethian Empire," the Vrethian delegate announced. "We demand the Council intervene immediately. Sanctions must be placed on Earth. Their aggression must be stopped." The Council chamber erupted in debate. Some species called for immediate action against Earth. Others pointed out that no one had helped Earth 3 years ago. A few quietly enjoyed seeing the Vrethians brought down. Then the chamber doors opened. Ambassador Jiwan walked in, her steps echoing in the sudden silence. She had not been in this chamber for 3 years. She looked different now, harder, colder. "Ambassador Jiwan," the head counselor said nervously, "we did not expect Earth to send a representative." "I'm sure you didn't," Jiwan said. She walked to the center of the chamber, her eyes scanning the faces of beings from 100 worlds. "You thought we'd learn to be quiet, to accept our place, to forget our dead." She placed a data chip on the central podium. "Let me remind you of something." The holographic displays filled with images of the colony fleet. Happy families boarding the ships, children excited about their new home, Captain Hyun-Sik's hopeful face. Then the massacre, the ships exploding, the screams, the silence that followed. 30,000 humans died, Jiwan said. "We came to you for justice. You gave us sympathy. The Vrethians murdered our people and faced no consequences. You taught us a valuable lesson that day." "Ambassador, this matter was settled," a counselor began. "It was not settled," Jiwan interrupted. "It was ignored. There's a difference. The Vrethians struck first. They killed civilians, families, children, without warning, without mercy. They were never punished. The council did nothing." The Vrethian delegate stood. "That was a territorial dispute. A misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Jiwan's voice was ice. "You knew exactly what you were doing. You wanted to show the new species what happens when they don't obey. You wanted to put us in our place. Mission accomplished. We learned our place." She turned to address the entire council. "Our place is not beneath you. Our place is among those who enforce justice when institutions fail. The Vrethians started a war 3 years ago. Today, we finished it. The council demands Earth cease all hostile actions immediately," the head counselor declared. Jiwan smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Interesting choice of words. Where was the council when we needed demands? Where was justice when our people burned? You want us to stop? Here's our offer. She transmitted Earth's terms to every display. The Vrethian military has 48 hours to surrender completely. All ships will power down. All weapons will be deactivated. If they comply, we stop. If they don't, we continue until there's nothing left to continue against. "This is unacceptable!" multiple voices shouted. "Then don't accept it," Jiwan said calmly. "But understand this, Earth is no longer asking for permission. We're not begging for justice. We're taking it. You can help, or you can watch, or you can try to stop us." She paused, letting her next words sink in. "I recommend watching. Trying to stop us would be unwise." The chamber erupted in chaos as Jiwan walked out, her message delivered, her patience exhausted. In space around the Vrethian homeworld, the human fleet waited, invisible and patient. General Ki-jun received Ji-won's report and nodded. The first blow had been struck. The galaxy was watching now. "All ships maintain position," he ordered. "Let's see if they're smart enough to surrender." The Galactic Council made their decision in 3 days. 12 member species agreed to form a peacekeeping force to restore order. They would travel to Earth's solar system, demand humanity cease their aggression, and force compliance if necessary. The Council had spoken. Earth would obey. The fleet that assembled was enormous. 4,000 ships from a dozen different species, all equipped with military-grade weapons. The Thalosians contributed their heavy cruisers. The Meridian Collective sent their carrier groups. The Zelthan brought their massive dreadnoughts that could level cities from orbit. It was the largest military force assembled in 500 years. The Council members were confident. Earth had perhaps a few hundred ships at most. They were good at stealth, yes, but numbers would win. 4,000 against 200. The humans would see reason. Admiral Young-ho received the intelligence reports about the incoming fleet. He was Earth's second fleet commander, responsible for home system defense. While Admiral Taemin led the stealth forces abroad, Young-ho had been preparing for this moment. "They're bringing everything," his tactical officer said. 4,000 confirmed ships. They'll be here in 6 days. "Good," Young-ho said. "Let them come." For 3 years, while humanity built its stealth fleet, they had also transformed the solar system into a fortress. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter now held 3,000 automated weapons platforms, each disguised as ordinary rocks. Jupiter's moons housed fleet bases hidden beneath the ice. Saturn's rings concealed missile batteries. Even Earth's moon was armed to the teeth. "Send a message to General Ki-jun," Young-ho ordered. "Tell him the Council is making a mistake." 6 days later, the Council's peacekeeping fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. They came in formation, weapons armed but not targeted. This was meant to be a show of force, not a battle. Surely the humans would see they were outmatched. Council Fleet Commander Ralvin broadcast his message. "Attention, Earth forces. This is the Galactic Council peacekeeping fleet. You have engaged in illegal military action against a Council member species. You are ordered to stand down immediately and surrender your vessels for inspection. You have 1 hour to comply." On Earth, Admiral Taemin listened to the message. He had returned from the Vrethian operation to take command of the defense. This was the moment everything had been building toward. Would the Council finally understand? Or would they have to learn the hard way? "Open a channel," Taemin ordered. His face appeared on every ship's display in the Council fleet. He was in his 60s, his hair gray, his face lined with the weight of command. But his eyes were sharp and cold. "Commander Ralvin, this is Admiral Taemin of the Earth Defense Fleet. 3 years ago, we came to the Council seeking justice. You offered us words, empty sympathy, no action. The Vrethians killed 30,000 of our people and faced no consequences. That matter is not," Ralvin began. "That matter is the only thing that matters," Taemin interrupted. "You had your chance to be peacekeepers. You chose to be bystanders. You chose to protect the powerful and ignore the weak. You taught us that in your galaxy, might makes right. Thank you for the lesson. We learned it well. Admiral, we are here to prevent further bloodshed," Ralvin said, trying to sound reasonable. "Withdraw your forces from Vrethian space and we can negotiate." "No," Taemin said simply. "You will withdraw from our space. You have 1 hour. After that, anyone remaining will be considered hostile." Ralvin couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Admiral, you are facing 4,000 ships. Be reasonable." "We are being reasonable," Taemin replied. "A reasonable species protects its own. A reasonable species punishes those who commit murder. A reasonable species doesn't trust a council that has already failed them once." He paused. 59 minutes remaining. The channel closed. Ralvin looked at his fleet commanders in disbelief. They can't be serious. They're outnumbered 20-1. Should we withdraw, sir? His second officer asked. Absolutely not, Ralvin said. We're here representing the entire Galactic Council. We cannot be intimidated by one primitive species. Prepare to advance. All ships, defensive formation. We'll move to Earth orbit and see how brave they are when we're sitting above their home world. The Council fleet began moving into the solar system. They passed the orbit of Neptune, then Uranus. Nothing happened. No Earth ships appeared. The sensors showed no contacts. See, Ralvin said confidently, they're bluffing. Keep advancing. Ambassador Hyarin, who had replaced G1 as Earth's voice to the Council, was broadcasting the entire event on every channel. Every species in the galaxy could watch as the mighty Council fleet advanced on the small human homeworld. Let them see, Hyarin said to her staff. Let every species in the galaxy watch what happens when the Council chooses force over justice. The Council fleet reached Saturn. The beautiful rings stretched out before them, peaceful and serene. Ralvin was beginning to feel foolish. Where were the human defenses? Had they really prepared nothing? Then the rings opened fire. What appeared to be ice chunks were actually missile platforms. Thousands of them. They lit up simultaneously, filling space with streaks of light. The Council fleet's rear guard evaporated in seconds. Evasive action! Ralvin screamed. Return fire! But there was nothing to fire at. The platforms were small, numerous, and scattered through millions of kilometers of rings. The Council ships tried to target them, but for every platform they destroyed, 10 more fired. The fleet pressed forward, taking losses but pushing through. They were still confident. They still had numbers. They reached Jupiter. The moons opened fire. Europa, Ganymede, Callisto, Io. Each one revealed hidden weapons emplacements, massive rail guns that could punch through heavy armor, plasma cannons that melted hulls, energy weapons that disabled shields. And then the asteroid belt activated. 3,000 platforms that had looked like ordinary rocks suddenly came to life. They moved, targeted, and fired with perfect coordination. The Council fleet was caught in a crossfire from every direction. Admiral Young-Ho watched from Earth's moon as the battle unfolded exactly as planned. Deploy the drone fleet, he ordered. 10,000 automated defense drones emerged from hidden facilities throughout the solar system. They were small, fast, and carried enough firepower to threaten cruiser-class vessels. They swarmed the Council fleet like angry insects, overwhelming point defenses and targeting weapons systems. The battle lasted 6 hours. The Council fleet tried to retreat, but the drones pursued them. The hidden platforms kept firing. By the time the surviving ships fled beyond Neptune, they had lost 3,700 vessels. Only 300 escaped. Not a single Earth ship had been destroyed. Not one human life was lost. The defenders hadn't even needed to use their manned fleet. Commander Ralvin sat in his damaged flagship, staring at his screens in shock. How? How had the humans done this? Where did they get such technology, such numbers, such ruthlessness? Ambassador Hyarin's broadcast went out to every world in the galaxy, the entire battle, recorded and transmitted. She spoke calmly, clearly. The Galactic Council sent 4,000 ships to force Earth to submit. They came to our home. They threatened our world. 300 ships survived. Let this be a lesson to any species watching. Humanity protects its own. Your council does not. She paused, letting her words sink into 100 billion alien minds. 7 council member species saw this battle and have already withdrawn from the alliance. They understand what the council does not. Justice delayed is justice denied. Power without accountability is tyranny. Earth will no longer participate in either. Across the galaxy, governments watched the footage again and again. The mighty Council fleet, broken and fleeing, Earth's defenses overwhelming and precise, and the question that everyone asked, if this was just Earth's home defense, what could their attack fleet do? The Galactic Council convened in emergency session, their chamber half empty as species after species chose not to attend. Those who remained sat in stunned silence. Earth had declared war on the old order, and Earth was winning. The news of the Council fleet's destruction spread through the galaxy in hours. Species that had been Council members for thousands of years suddenly questioned their allegiance. If the Council couldn't protect its own fleet, how could it protect anyone? Within a week, 23 species formally withdrew from the Galactic Council. Others sent quiet messages to Earth, expressing their support, asking for protection, seeking new alliances. The balance of power that had existed for 10,000 years was collapsing. The remaining council members met in their chamber, which now felt empty and cold. Half the seats were vacant. The delegates who remained looked nervous, unsure, afraid. "We must negotiate with Earth," one delegate said, "before this goes any further." "Negotiate?" The Vrethian delegate stood, his scales flushed with anger. "They have attacked us without provocation. They have destroyed a council fleet. They must be punished." "Punished?" Another delegate laughed bitterly. "With what?" "Our fleet is gone. Our military is shattered. Earth has technology we don't understand and clearly no fear of us. Perhaps we should have thought about punishment 3 years ago." Before the argument could continue, alarms sounded throughout the station. The Council's central headquarters, located in neutral space at the galaxy's edge, was suddenly surrounded. 200 human ships materialized out of stealth. They formed a perfect sphere around the massive station, their weapons armed, their intentions clear. At the center of the formation was the flagship of Admiral Taemin. Inside the council chamber, panic erupted. Security forces scrambled, defensive systems activated, but everyone knew it was useless. If Earth wanted to destroy the station, it would be destroyed. "Incoming transmission from the Earth fleet," a technician announced. "Put it through," the head counselor said, his voice shaking. Admiral Taemin appeared on the main display. Behind him stood General Ki-jun and Ambassador Ji-won. The 3 humans looked calm, professional, and absolutely unyielding. "Members of the Galactic Council," Taemin said, "I am Admiral Taemin of the Earth Defense Fleet. We are not here to destroy this station. We are here to deliver a message and an offer. You will listen." The council chamber fell silent. What choice did they have? "Ambassador Ji-won will now address the council," Taemin said, stepping aside. Ji-won walked forward. She carried a small data chip in her hand. She had waited 3 years for this moment. 3 years of anger, grief, and determination. Now it was time. 3 years ago, "I stood in this chamber," she began. "I begged for justice. I showed you evidence of mass murder. I asked you to hold the Vrethians accountable for killing 30,000 unarmed humans. Do you remember what you told me?" The delegates sat in silence. Several looked away, unable to meet her gaze. "You told me it was a misunderstanding," Ji-won continued. "You offered sympathy. You suggested we accept your condolences and move on. You did nothing because the Vrethians were powerful and Earth was weak. That was the lesson you taught us that day." She placed the data chip on the central podium. "Let me show you what you ignored." The holographic displays filled the chamber, but this time, it wasn't just the footage of the massacre. It was everything, the faces of every person who died. Captain Hyun-sik reading a story to children in the ship's common area. A couple celebrating their 50th anniversary, excited to start fresh on a new world. A 6-year-old girl showing her drawing of what she imagined aliens would look like. Their names were Hyun-sik, Min-ah, Dae-jung, Bo-ram, Ji-won said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. They were teachers, farmers, engineers, artists, children. They were unarmed civilians following your rules, trusting your system, believing in your justice. The images continued. Each face, each name, each story. 30,000 of them. The delegates watched, unable to look away. And when they died, Jiwan said, you did nothing. So we learned. We learned that in this galaxy might makes right. We learned that justice only exists for the powerful. We learned that the Galactic Council is not a force for peace, but a protection racket for the strong. She turned to face the Vrethian delegate directly. Your people killed ours. You faced no consequences. That ends now. The head counselor found his voice. Ambassador, what do you want? Jiwan projected Earth's terms on every display. First, the Vrethian Empire will be dissolved. Its military will be dismantled completely. Its leadership will stand trial for war crimes on a neutral world, judged by species who are not council members. The Vrethian delegate started to protest, but Jiwan's next words cut him off. Second, the Vrethian Empire will cede 10-star systems to Earth as reparations. These systems will become sanctuaries for species who have been ignored or oppressed by the Council. Earth will protect them. This is outrageous, a delegate shouted. Third, Jiwan continued, ignoring the interruption, the Galactic Council will be restructured. New laws will be written that apply equally to all species, with real enforcement and real consequences. No more special treatment for the powerful. No more ignored crimes because you're afraid of the perpetrator. She paused, letting them absorb the demands. Or Earth withdraws completely from galactic affairs. We'll take our technology, our resources, and our protection and build our own coalition. We already have 20 species ready to join us. How many more do you think will follow when they see what we offer? Real justice, real protection, real equality? The council chamber erupted in arguments. Some delegates called the terms impossible. Others pointed out they had no choice. A few quietly admitted the terms were fair, considering what had happened. The head counselor raised his hand for silence. The council must vote on these terms. Such a decision cannot be made hastily. You have 2 hours, General Kijun said, speaking for the first time. After that, we'll assume your answer is no and proceed accordingly. The channel closed. The human fleet remained in position, silent and waiting. Inside the council chamber, the debate raged, but everyone knew the truth. Earth held all the power now. They had proven they could defeat council fleets. They had shown they possessed superior technology, and they had demonstrated they would not back down. When the vote came, it was unanimous. 147 species voted yes, 0 voted no. The abstentions came from species who had already left the council. The Vrethian delegate was escorted away by council security. His empire ended, his power broken. He screamed about injustice and betrayal, but no one listened. He had taught Earth about consequences. Now he would learn the same lesson. Ambassador Jiwan stood before the council one final time. Earth will honor this agreement. We will help rebuild the council into something better. But understand this. We will never forget what you failed to do. We will never again trust you to protect us. And we will never, ever forgive the 30,000. She turned to leave, then paused. One more thing. Earth is establishing a memorial on the world we were denied. Kepler 442b will become a sanctuary for the families of injustice. Every species wronged by the powerful and ignored by the council will find a home there, and above that world, humanity will place a monument. What monument? A delegate asked. The wreckage of the Vrethian ships that attacked our colony fleet, Jiwan said. Preserved in orbit forever. A reminder that actions have consequences. That justice, even delayed, will come. That humanity remembers. The human fleet withdrew from council space. They had achieved their goals. The Vrethians were broken. The council was reformed. Justice, at last, had been served. On Earth, Admiral Tae-min and Ambassador Ji-won stood before the memorial wall in Geneva. 3 kilometers of black stone, carved with 30,000 names. Flowers and candles covered the ground before it. Every day people came to remember. "Did we go too far?" Tae-min asked quietly. Ji-won was silent for a long moment. She thought about the battles, the deaths, the fear they had spread across the galaxy. She thought about what they had become in pursuit of justice. "No," she finally said. "We went exactly far enough. They ignored us when we were weak. They feared us when we were strong. Now they'll respect us because we proved we protect our own." "The galaxy will never see us the same way," Tae-min observed. "Good," Ji-won replied. "They used to see us as victims, as a lesson about knowing your place. Now they see us as the species that taught the Galactic Council to fear silence, the species that turned grief into purpose, anger into action, and injustice into change." She touched the wall, her fingers tracing a name. "We didn't do this for revenge. We did it so no species ever has to beg for justice again, so no parent ever has to hear that their child's murder was a misunderstanding, so the powerful finally face consequences." Tae-min nodded. In the sky above, ships moved between Earth and the stars. Humanity's fleet, now the most feared military force in the galaxy, but also humanity's traders, scientists, diplomats, and teachers spreading out to forge new alliances and protect new friends. The galaxy had changed. The old order was broken. In its place, something new was being built, something better, something that remembered that justice wasn't just for the powerful. And at the center of it all, humanity stood guard. Not as conquerors, not as tyrants, but as the species that had learned the hardest way possible that silence, when broken, could shake the stars themselves. The 30,000 were gone, but they would never be forgotten. Their names would echo through history as the reason everything changed, the reason humanity rose, the reason the galaxy learned that some debts must be paid, no matter how long it takes. Earth's revenge was complete. The galactic silence was eternal.